Hey there, my name is Cole Adams, and you are watching the best college basketball podcast out there that covers the entire sport of college basketball, brackets, bubbles, and bid stealers. Now, here are your hosts, Sam Fetterman and Jonathan Lidskin.
Season 650 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers. I am Sam Fetterman. That is Jonathan Lidskin. Jonathan, how are you doing tonight?
Well, Sam, the weather here is not exactly the greatest. Yes, George Washington. It's not exactly the greatest. We're getting some early November snow here, Sam.
Really?
Yeah, it's supposed to storm too. So we're talking like 5 to 7 inches.
By the way, we're supposed to get snow here tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, I have no interest in walking through the snow to class on my birthday.
Yeah, that's a tough scene. Anyway, I went to a Missouri Valley basketball game today. I saw Cooper Nord play. Currently watching Hannah Steinbeck after to close out the college basketball week. So can't complain about that.
Very rare day today where you were at a game, but I wasn't.
Very rare. Very rare.
We don't get those very often.
No, we do not.
Actually, I mean, you had it last year when you went to the Duke game.
Well, I'm sure that I had it at times when I was actually at Mizzou, because I was obviously going to games there. But now that I'm back at home and just doing this pod from my room, not a ton of planned games for me to go to. I mean, Northwestern's 25-30 minutes from here. I'll obviously be there a couple more times this year, but it's not like being at college and having these games to go to where you're rooting for a team there.
Yeah. Crazy game in Hoffman Estates today. We'll get into that later. Let's talk, before we get into any of the biggest games, make sure that you're following Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, at BBBCBB Podcast. Make sure that you are turning on those notifications wherever you get your podcasts, on YouTube, on Twitch, on Twitter, BBBCBB Podcast. Remember, because we will go live throughout the course of the season, couple times a week. There's no set schedule. That's the one thing about this pod that we don't do very well, the set schedule. But
and to be honest, I kind of like it that way.
It gives
the sport is unpredictable, and you don't know what nights you're going to have to talk about important things. Obviously,
honestly, if you listen to the entire pod, you probably will figure out when the next one is, because we usually
plan it at the end. Yeah. So we have now ended the last pod with planning the next pod and started this pod with talking about planning the next pod.
Great podcasting, by the way.
Unbelievable stuff. There's nothing like it. But anyway, college basketball is unpredictable. Obviously, once conference play gets going and we know more, there's set dates for these teams play this night, these teams play this night. We obviously have mid-major Thursdays. So we get more into a flow and are more consistent, I'd say, during conference play. But during non-con, I mean, who knows? We're still learning about all these teams.
Yeah, we don't know who's good. We're watching Washington Baylor right now.
Yeah.
We probably won't talk about that one tonight, unfortunately.
No.
I wanted to, but we decided to do this a little earlier. Let's talk and start with Alabama St. John's, Jonathan, at Madison Square Garden. This game, and honestly, we might just get into it from the very start. I wrote it down somewhere around here, the amount of free throws that we're seeing in college basketball, because I think it's going to be hard to talk about this game without talking about that. But St. John's in the first half, Alabama goes out to a 37-30 lead. St. John's calls timeout. Pitino, timeout. It might as well just be a power up. St. John's comes back, ties the game, but Alabama races forward, goes up by 9 at halftime, and then they lead for most of the second half by a good amount. St. John's storms back, takes the lead, and then Alabama delivers the last punch in the last 5 minutes. Jonathan, what impressed you the most about the Crimson Tide?
Probably the shot making. Not that we were to expect anything less, but just the amount of guys Bama has that are a threat. Phylon finishes with 25. Holloway finishes with 21 in his debut for the season. 17 off the bench for my guy Latrell Wrightsell, who I always have spoken very, very highly of. And then Taylor Bowen chips in with 17 as well. I think that just the amount of weapons they have is just makes them a tough out every single night. Like, I don't think their defense is going to be as good as it was a year ago. I'm not sure how much of a difference that makes in the end. But, yeah, like, they made some tough shots in this game.
Yeah, I think the key, you look at Phylon. This is one of the best guards in the country. I know you had him as a preseason first team
my SEC Player of the Year, preseason first team All-American.
He's a stud. Like, he is awesome. But the key for this game, I mean, when you get your guys back, and hey, they didn't have to play the freshmen quite as much as they did in the first game, because Holloway was in the lineup, Wrightsell was in the lineup, and that's big for them. They need those guys. They really did, because there was a lot of foul trouble in this game. There were a lot of calls. St. John's is going to be that type of team that's going to try and pound it inside, because they have Zuby Ejiofor, who was on fire in this first half. Alabama had no answers for him. And I think that's one of the things that I'm a little concerned about with the Tide this year is, obviously, you had Cliff last year, Bama's best defensive teams. They've had the big man.
They've had elite rim protector.
It was the Bediako Clowney team a couple of years ago with Brandon Miller.
Even Oates' first good team, like, Herb Jones wasn't this, like, 6'11", like, long wingspan rim, like, true center, but he was an elite rim protector in his own right.
Yeah, and like Taylor Bowen protects the rim pretty well. Like, there's no denying that, but he's not a deterrent, more so as he is a guy that will be a second side guy.
Yeah, good weak side defender that can come over from the help line.
Yeah, Sherrell got pounded in this game by Zuby. Hopkins did a really good job against whoever really was on him in this first half. I thought those two guys were very important for St. John's. St. John's defense, though, did not impress me at all. The fact of the matter is they need to play like in minutes when like they need to play Sadiku Ibinayo more or Dylan Mitchell more. It takes away from their offense, because their guards offensively are kind of what gives this team the juice, aside from Zuby and Hopkins. And we know how good those guys are, but they need the perimeter creation as well. And you lose the perimeter creation when you go with Ibinayo or Mitchell, and they needed to go to those guys. And Mitchell's good. Mitchell's good. He had 4 assists in this game. St. John's as a team had 18 assists. And so I'm not saying that the playmaking is bad for St. John's right now, or the perimeter creation is bad. It's just that I think that they're giving, 25 minutes for Josan Sanin, and he's not giving them enough, obviously. Ian Jackson was solid in this game, took a lot of shots. Osiah Sellers had his moments, was mostly good, but had some missteps. I think that's the thing with St. John's. You're looking at a team that its best lineups aren't necessarily its 5 best players, and its worst lineups aren't necessarily 5 worst players. So I do think Pitino's going to figure it out, and I think that it's why in stretches they can really lock in and be really good on both ends. It's how we saw them come back. It's how we saw them go on that run in the first half. It's just that I think when we look at St. John's as a whole, they are not as complete as we would hope they would be. And Alabama's not complete either. I mentioned that they don't really have rim protection on like the front side. Aiden Sherrell got manhandled. I mentioned that. But even on a day where Houston Millett goes 1 for 6, Aiden Holloway goes 2 for 9, they can still find a way to hit 11 threes. And when you take 35 threes, 11 of them isn't a big number to make when it comes to 35 threes that you take. But when you play as fast as Alabama does, and you take 81 shots in this game, along with 22 free throws, 11 threes is still 33 points. And that's 103 points that they put up in this game. St. John's also, when they did go away from Mitchell, and they went away from their guys, and Alabama was what Alabama was able to do really well in this game is pull Zuby out from under the rim, and just get a lot of drives to the basket. I thought that was what Phylon and Holloway did so well in this game.
Yeah, we can talk about a lot of different things with St. John's, and we have pretty much all off season. But I think when it comes down to it, I think you kind of hit it on the head. There's like a weird mix of like, can we get a lineup out here that has, enough perimeter defense, but at the same time, enough ball handling on the floor. It's a talented roster, no doubt. We've never once denied that. But Pitino's going to have to try to mess around with this as the season goes on to find the right combinations. I know one of your bold predictions is that Josan Sanin is going to be out of this rotation entirely at some point in the season. Like that was one of your bold predictions this offseason or on our Sunday night show a week ago. If Josan Sanin goes 1 for 6 from the field and scores 7 points, he's not being useful to this team.
Not more valuable than Sadiku Ibinayo.
Correct. And I think, we can talk as much as we want about the point guard situation.
And Dylan Darling didn't play in this game, and that is something to note.
Yes. We didn't talk about enough, and when I say we, I mean the college basketball community. St. John's point of attack defense is significantly worse than it was a year ago. Significantly.
I think that was kind of like an implication that I gave. We talked so much about the point guard situation that we just kind of forgot about this, but I think everyone kind of knew it.
Correct. And, I often give coaches props for adjusting to try to make up and try to switch things up from like the faults they had in years prior. But I think Pitino might have tried to overcompensate with this backcourt and the amount of, playmakers and shooters that they tried to bring in on the wings and at the guard spot. I think that they have good rim protection. We know what Zuby is defensively. We know what Dylan Mitchell is defensively. But when you can get 2 feet in the lane and get inside the arc as often as Alabama was able to do on Saturday, nobody's going to have success like that. Especially when the game is being played at Alabama style, when you're getting up and down like that.
I was extremely impressed by Alabama's ability in the second half of this game after they gave up the lead to just put them away. It's a road game, tough environment, crowds going nuts, Madison Square Garden, big stage, first real adversity of the season. And these guys go out there and finish the job.
Yeah, it was really a really resilient effort by them. And I mean, this was my number 10 team in the country in the preseason. They have my SEC Player of the Year. I think they're with Nate Oates at this point. Like we know that there's a definitive floor with this team, and like the floor is like a 6 seed. Like that's like the worst they've done in the last 5 years under him. There was never a doubt that this team was going to be any different. It's an electric offense. It's a fun team. I can't wait to keep watching them this year.
Yeah. Alabama's next game is against Purdue on Thursday, Jonathan.
Yeah.
Alabama's schedule, by the way. Purdue at home. Illinois in, I believe, Chicago. And then they go to Players Era, where they play Gonzaga and UNLV and then a third game. And then Clemson in the ACC SEC Challenge. Then they play UTSA. They're coached by Austin Clonch, former Alabama assistant. Then it's Arizona. Then it's South Florida, coached by Brian Hodgson, former Alabama assistant. Kennesaw State, coached by Antoine Petway, former Alabama assistant. And Yale, who's the favorite in the Ivy League. What a wild schedule.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that Bama's playing 2 of Oates' former assistants. Because,
3 of them.
I feel like coaches don't usually want to do that. Like, you don't want to lose to a guy that...
Well, I know Bama played Arkansas State last year.
Yeah.
Hodgson.
I mean, good on Oates. South Florida is a really good mid-major team, and they would be in that tier that many coaches would quantify as it doesn't benefit us to play this game tier. and we could very easily lose it, and it would hurt us.
I mean, if you look at Alabama's like non-con games last year, they didn't screw around either. Arkansas State, they played McNeese.
They went to North Dakota, didn't they?
Yeah, they went to North Dakota. They played South Dakota State. They played Kent State. Good ball clubs. They played the non-con. So love the way NATO schedules, but we're going to be talking about Alabama a lot on this podcast over the next month or so, because they're going to be playing a lot of big games.
Surely.
It's not out of the question if they can like come away from these next 3 games and win all 3 of them. Like, it's not out of the question. Like, they will have chances to win all these games. They're probably going to lose at some point in these next 3 games. But like, this is one of the early teams that's going to like have their chance to really make a claim for themselves. As one of the best teams in the country.
If they win these next 3, they're getting a 1 seed, man. Like,
oh, absolutely. I'm just saying, like,
pencil that in.
We could like these next 3 games could start shaping the narrative around Alabama and around this college basketball season. And I'm not sure how many other teams in college basketball have that type of schedule where they can shape the narrative of the season from an early point.
Yeah.
It's not really a claim on how good they are, just kind of a what.
No, it's all about opportunity.
Yeah. Let's move on. Jonathan, Michigan State, Arkansas was another one of the big games this weekend. I think we knew exactly how this was going to go. You want to start?
Yeah, you know, we talked about this. I wouldn't call it at length, but sort of extensively on Friday. Like, this was a gritty game. It was fun. It was a fun style of gritty. It wasn't Georgetown, Maryland like gritty, where it was just gross. But you know, Arkansas led by 3 at the half. We both said that Arkansas would lead at the half of this game, and Michigan State grinded out a close win because they made better adjustments and they're a better coach than Arkansas is, at least in game. You know, it's the second I doubt Izzo. Of course, like, they have another freshman who's really good. And, of course, I watched him and, you know, I thought he was good. I didn't think he was this good. Cam Ward's amazing.
I don't know if Cam Ward is like a best player on a...
yeah, I don't think he's Jace Richardson. But
yeah,
really
I think that's kind of the difference. But, like, on the surface, like, this team has similar traits to last year's team. They're not going to shoot it very well, but they're going to win on the glass. They're going to be good. They're going to be good interior defensively, and they're going to try and attack the basket and get to the line. Like, I think like they were better than what they should have been last year because Jace Richardson raised the ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm starting to kind of understand the floor being higher for this team than I thought it was, even without Caleb Glenn. He's out for the season, because I'm just seeing the energy that they play with. They were able to control the energy of this game for basically the entirety. And again, like, they're 33rd in KenPom right now. Like, they'll probably find themselves around there for most of the season, maybe a little lower, maybe a little higher.
Yeah.
But I had them in the like 45, 48 range preseason. I knew I was going to be too low. I didn't really understand why I would be too low. Now I'm starting to see it. Like, they're still going to like do enough things to win enough games. If you can see what I mean.
Absolutely. Like, they're going to win games.
They were dominant on the glass in this game. They had 19 offensive rebounds. Jackson Kohler, Carson Cooper made some good plays in the post. Like, those guys don't create their own shot, but Jeremy Fears creates shots for them. Jeremy Fears had 9 assists. He didn't make a field goal, but he was really impactful because he had 9 assists. He was throwing lobs. They were getting into the lane, 2 feet in the paint, wraparound pass, something like that. And for me, the best thing for this game about Michigan State, if I'll go for that, Trey Fort was 1 for 4 from 3. He took 6 shots. And they still won a big game. They didn't need Trey Fort to be good in this game to win. Now, part of this is, yes, Cam Ward was awesome. How many times are you getting 18 and 10 from Cam Ward? Probably not that many, especially not in 23 minutes. But the fact that they only needed 15 minutes of Trey Fort and 15 bad minutes of Trey Fort, who I thought was kind of going to be their most important scorer, that tells me a lot of things.
Yeah, I think a couple more thoughts on Michigan State. One, I don't know why Arkansas wasn't forcing Cohen Carr to his right hand. I felt like he got to his left at will. Second of all, it's amazing how
Kenny
impactful.
Payne was on staff. He might have had the scout.
It's force him right. It's crazy how impactful Jeremy Fears can be to a game without making a shot. He was 0 of 7 from the field. And I felt like he was maybe one of the most important reasons that Michigan State ended up winning this game. He has 9 assists. Darius Acuff is held to 5 of 16 from the field. I mean, he's a really good floor general, really good defender, especially on the ball. And, you know, I felt like when he went out of the game, like that's when Arkansas made their run.
What are your takeaways from the Arkansas side of this game?
Oh, God, where do you want me to start?
Go. Just start.
I mean, I guess I'll start with the obvious. Oh, what the hell was that end of the game play?
Well, we know why Cal didn't call timeout in Sweet 16.
Yeah.
He didn't have anything in the bag.
We sure do. Holy cow. Sorry, watching the end of this half in Baylor, Washington, Bryson Tucker almost threw down a ridiculous tip dunk. So
let's see.
I didn't get to go back and actually watch what they ran, but as soon as Brazil caught the ball, and I said this to you and you agreed with me, I was like waiting for a dribble handoff.
Yeah, I thought, I don't remember who it was that was in the corner, but I'm like, oh, this is a good idea. Get it to the top, have someone come up, have your best shooter come up from the corner and hit a shot from the wing.
Because Malik kind of came off that screen and like ran underneath the basket and back out to the perimeter. And so I thought he was going to come back up and take the handoff. But no, that wasn't the case. It was a Trayvon Brazil air ball that never had a chance, and Michigan State gets a W. Outside of that, like Acuff had his moments for sure. So did Malik Thomas. It's hard to imagine that Arkansas's best lineup won't be without those two when it's all said and done. This big rotation is really interesting to me right now. I was pretty convinced that Malik Ewan was going to be the best player in this front court, and he didn't even get the start. He ends up playing 30 minutes. Brazil plays 15, in large part because of foul trouble. But, Sam, I thought that Ewan was going to come in and be maybe this team's best non-freshman. And it didn't look like that. It didn't look that way.
They're still kind of working out what's going to happen. Like, this is like a fully healthy Carter Knox, and Arkansas probably wins this game. I would say. Like, the difference in this game could have been that, and Knox was just not like himself whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not like, you can't be making excuses like that. Like, Arkansas should have won this game regardless. They were the better team for a good portion of the game. Michigan State was the better team for another portion of the game. Arkansas is the more talented team. They had this game. They were up at halftime. They led for a lot of the second half. They led for a lot of the first half. It was back and forth, I thought. But Arkansas had their moments when they could have gone on runs and put the game away. Michigan State did as well. Both teams should be going back and saying, we had our chances to win or to win by more, and we had our chances to lose and lose by more. I think that there were moments in this game where Acuff was awesome, But I also think that there were moments in this game where he was trying to do too much. And that's something that you definitely can expect out of a freshman in his first big game. DJ Wagner. I loved DJ Wagner in this game. I thought he was energetic. I thought he played with
him only attempting like 8 shots or whatever it was, or 6 shots, is like, that's all I need. Take 8 efficient shots and we'll be okay.
Maybe he should be taking like 10, because like Acuff, I think, took a couple of bad ones. And like Thomas, but like Malik Thomas, there was never a shot that Malik Thomas took that I'm like, oh, this has no chance. Like, he's that kind of scorer.
Yeah, he should have a green light too. Like with the lack of shooting they have outside of him and Acuff on this roster, he should have a green light.
I mean, I know he took 15 shots, and I know he went 2 for 9 from 3. But I kept thinking like, this guy's a good shooter. Like I know like you can't let him get open. And I kept thinking he's taking good shots, or he's taking like shots. As long as he's set and has a little bit of space, I'm fine with him taking it. Wagner, I think, was awesome in this game. Because he wasn't trying too hard to get his own opportunities, but he was also effective as a ball handler and as a playmaker when they needed him to. Acuff had the ball in his hands for the most part. Thomas had the ball in his hands a lot more than I maybe would have wanted. I think Thomas should probably be a little more off ball, but I'm fine with him on ball because he can create. But Wagner picked out his moments. He had some really energetic plays. He looks a little more athletic, I think. Looks better defensively. I think the fact of the matter is this is a top 5 recruit that was good. It was like obviously not like good as a freshman, but has now played 2 years of SEC basketball and was good for the most part last year, and is now a junior. How many times do you get a top 5 recruit to stick around and be a junior in college basketball with 2 years of high major experience, of actually playing at a high level at high major experience, not like being hurt or whatever, or just being bad like Aaron Bradshaw. DJ Wagner kind of being your 3rd or 4th best guy in this spot. But I think Arkansas is going to have games where he looks really, really good. And probably not very many games where he looks that bad, because I think he just looks a lot more energetic and into it.
Here's an interesting question for you. How many different guys on this Arkansas roster will lead them in scoring in a game this year?
Six?
Acuff, Wagner, Thomas, Knox, Richmond, and then pick your poison of the bigs. Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. One thing on the Michigan State side that I noticed, by the way, or at least I came to a conclusion of, is Izzo, I think at this point in the season, trusts his bench significantly less than he did a year ago. Fears 35 minutes, Carr 31 minutes, Kohler 31 minutes. Now, that's probably their 3 best players. But I feel like even down the stretch last year, when they're the Big Ten champs and a 2 seed, like you don't have guys playing that much, except for maybe like Jaden Akins.
I mean, yeah, looking 32, 32, 31 for Carr, Richardson, Akins against Mississippi. 32, 30. They also had they had Holloman.
They have no Trey Holloman on this team.
Yeah, and I think it was different, just the way that they were built last year.
Yeah,
but it's the same idea.
Yeah, and they could get there. Like Scott had moments. Ward obviously we thought was tremendous. Izzo is gonna probably hate Divine Ugochukwu, and we talked about that in the offseason. But who's to say Kurtang doesn't develop into something better? Even though you and I are not huge Kurtang fans.
Let's move on to the last of the 3 high billing games that we're going to discuss this weekend. Indiana and Marquette, Jonathan. I'm not sure how much of this game, if any, you were able to catch because I know you.
Yeah, I didn't watch a second of it, but was following it the whole way.
I know you were at the Illinois State game, but oh my God, this Indiana offense. It's Reed Bailey gets 2 fouls in the first 2 minutes of this game. Marquette is at the line a lot. Marquette's in the bonus by the 6 minute, by 6, 7, 8 minutes into this game. But Indiana had so much energy and just kept making shots. Tucker DeVries, man. The nation missed Tucker DeVries. I missed Tucker DeVries last year. This is a guy that for 3 years we watched torment the Missouri Valley with Drake. He was, 2-time Conference Player of the Year?
Yeah, 1-time Freshman of the Year, 2-time Player of the Year.
Yeah, and he was probably the best player in the conference by the end of his freshman season.
Yeah, you can certainly argue that.
Then last year, he gets hurt early in the season. He was awesome when he played last year. He shot 47% from 3 last season. Gets hurt, misses the entire rest of the season. West Virginia would make the tournament if they had him the rest of the way. Transfers to Indiana with Darian, his father. 18 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists in the first game. 27 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists in this game. The thing you forget is he's not just a shooter. He's not just a guy that is he's big and a shooter, but he's also got the ability to get to his spots at such a high level. He is the ultimate 3 levels. He might be the best 3-level scorer in college basketball right now. That's not a freshman, aside from the freshman. He might be the best veteran 3-level scorer in the country.
Yeah, he goes for 24 in the first half, and they start taking him away, and it's Wilkerson, Sisley,
and you can't forget about how good he is as a shooter. Obviously, he's not. Obviously, I mentioned he's not just a shooter, but he's a ridiculous shooter. Some of the shots he was hitting in this game,
he is one of the best shooters in the conference.
Some of the shots he was hitting in this game were off balance, 3 feet behind the line. What was he thinking? But it's Tucker DeVries, so they go in.
Yeah, I think he was a 42% 3-point shooter in his final season at Drake.
He was 36, but 38 in conference play.
Okay. Yeah, he's an elite player, man. Elite player. And
he could be an All-American.
And you know what? I don't think Marquette's going to end up being bad. Certainly didn't play well today. This should be all about Indiana and nothing to do with Marquette.
I have no Marquette takeaway from this game, really.
And you know what? We say it all the time, Sam, but
okay, I do have
just
one.
Hire good basketball coaches.
I do have one Marquette takeaway from this game. Nigel James is good.
Yeah, and we kind of figured that.
Yes.
But can we go back to this for a sec? Just hire good basketball coaches. Forget about the politics. Forget about winning the press conference. Just hire somebody who can coach basketball, and stuff like this happens.
Yeah, I thought Trent Sisley was awesome. Just gave them some jolt, energy inside. Sam Alexis played some big minutes because they needed him to early. Got some rebounds. Got to the line. I enjoyed those minutes, and Wilkerson in the second half was awesome. Just hit shot after shot. Assists. Connor Way, they didn't need Connor Way. The thing about this team is they have so many offensive weapons. All the offensive weapons are also capable of kind of scaling themselves back if it's someone else's night. Hey, Tucker's got it tonight. Connor Way, we only need 3 shots. Connor Enright, we only need 3 shots. But hey, another night might be Enright's night. He might be 6 of 7 from 3. And you don't see as much shooting from DeVries or Wilkerson. Obviously, those two are going to be the main scorers for this team. But I do think they can kind of take the foot off the gas and feed the hot hand if they need to. Because we've seen them. With Wilkerson, it's different. He was at Sam Houston. We've seen DeVries do it when a Roman Penn or a Garrett Sturtz is having a night or a Brody's having a night. We've seen DeVries kind of be able to let those guys have a night while he and they can still win without Tucker having 30 points.
I don't know if you'll be able to answer this. Was Indiana running a lot of the same stuff that Drake ran with DeVries? Big at the top of the key, dribble handoffs.
I mean, there was some of it.
Okay.
There was some of it.
Okay.
I think maybe with Bailey they're going to do more of that than with Alexis. But they were 5 out a lot, even with Alexis.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's what DeVries does.
Yeah, but it was they did not have Alexis. They did not have the big like initiating anything. With Bailey, they'll do that more, I think. Like they had the guards do all the work because the guards are so good on this team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, again, like with Indiana, 98 points against Alabama A&M, 100 points against Marquette, and they don't really have a non-conference schedule that gives them a ton of bounce early. They do have later in the non-con Kentucky at Rupp. That's probably going to be a loss because Kentucky, as that place is going to be bouncing, and it's a tough game, tough place to win. They play Louisville on a neutral. They don't have one of those MTEs. They don't have like the Big Ten, Big 12, whatever it is, the Big Ten, like any of that. They don't really have that. They needed this win because who knows how many of the other big games they're going to win in the non-con. With they have Kansas State. Who knows how good they're going to be? Louisville and Kentucky. Yes, they do play them, but again, that's a month away. We'll figure that out when we get there. But for the first part of the season, this is a win Indiana pretty much needed.
Yeah. I don't have like much more because I don't want to like commentate on a game I didn't get to watch. I would probably going to go back and watch at least the first half of this.
This was a bad weekend for the Big East. We'll get into that in a minute with Providence losing to Virginia Tech. And Providence looked good in this game, I will say. We can move on and talk a little bit about that game. But I want to lead into that with talking about the Big East as a whole.
Sure. They
have a huge game coming up for just the conference as a whole on Tuesday night for Creighton. Creighton's going to Gonzaga.
Yeah.
If you have St. John's, Creighton, Providence, Villanova, and Marquette all lose like their first big game of the season, it becomes a lot more difficult for this league to keep building resumes and then build resumes on top. Now, again, there's a lot of time left. But the Big East is not one of those leagues where they have like 16 or 17 teams and like they're all playing and like there's going to be a lot of big games every week. And all right, you're going to have enough of them turn into quad one games. The Big East, we've seen over the last couple of years, has not had a ton of quad one opportunities.
Is it possible that when we're talking on Sunday next week on this very pod, assuming we do a pod that day, is it possible that at this time next week we're talking and the best resume in the Big East through 2 weeks of the season belongs to Georgetown?
Consider assuming Creighton loses to if Creighton loses and UConn loses to BYU on next Saturday, like I don't know who would be better than I guess Xavier has Iowa away.
Xavier goes to Carver Hawkeye next Friday.
And they play Santa Clara
they are going
tomorrow.
to get blasted.
Oh yeah, they're going to get crushed. I'm just saying it's an opportunity.
Yeah, Xavier could lose to Santa Clara tomorrow.
Butler plays SMU away next week, and since SMU,
that would be a good one.
And since Butler is a quad 2 game, SMU actually has a chance to win. If it were a quad 1 game, SMU would not have a chance to win. Let's see. Do you think SMU is going to win a quad 1 game this year?
Yes, because the ACC is better, and so they'll have more opportunities to do so. Last year, they didn't win a quad one game, but they only had like 5 of them, right?
I think they had 5, yeah.
So, more opportunities, you would assume it improves.
All right. Can I glaze the Greek freak now?
Yeah, floor's yours.
I told you all about this guy. I feel like an idiot for saying I told you because like he was a known commodity in Europe.
He would have been drafted last year.
He would have been drafted last year. I'm telling you guys.
Quite high, actually.
This guy is unreal. Neoklas Avdalas, 33 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, took over this game at the beginning, took over this game at the end, just completely changes everything for Virginia Tech because of the resources that you have to giving him attention on offense and the ability that he has to play make. And they also have, I think, some other playmakers too. I thought Tyler Johnson was awesome in this game. Lawal and Hansberry, Amani Hansberry, like looks really, really good so far this season. He's got in these 2 games, he's averaging 18 and 12. Virginia Tech as a whole, and look, we thought Isaiah Pasha was going to be like this.
Yeah, the other guys who I thought were going to be good for this team haven't been good yet.
And that's kind of the scary thing. Like Bedford was awesome, Johnson was awesome, but like Pasha and Hammond and I mean, Shoot had his moments, but like those guys being their 5th, 6th best players versus their 2nd, 3rd best players, or sorry, their 3rd, 4th best players. That's ginormous. That's ginormous for them. Lawal, Hansberry, the front court, they played 39 and 38 minutes together. I definitely am concerned about the depth of this front court. There's not much of it. As we've mentioned before on the pod, I'm not a big Christian Gerdak fan. I'm not a huge Antonio Dorn fan either. But Hansberry and Lawal are awesome.
So I saw an interesting comparison.
And Avdalas, man, we got to kind of get back to this. Like that guy, like he's got game.
So I saw an interesting comparison for Avdalas today. Okay. And the comparison was Yegor Demon. And to that I say, no, he's what we wanted Yegor Demon to be.
Yes, he is what we wanted Yegor Demon to be.
I will say that I probably have a little more hope for Providence than I did before the season. After this game, they have some bucket getters, and I think they're going to be able to play offense. Defense will be a huge question mark if Oswin isn't an absolute maniac protecting the rim. And
yeah, I also
even on the perimeter, I think it's a huge question mark too. But
I also think them pulling Stefan Vox out of their ass as like this sniper that can come in and change a game. Mm-hmm. That's huge.
We should have known that like this was going to be better for Providence this year when Melo wasn't starting for them like he had to at the end of the season last year.
Yeah, and I don't think Melo's bad.
No, but like
whatever.
But like, they clearly upgraded at the position. And I think I think this team's going to be able to outscore some teams.
Yeah, and I think in the Big East there's wins to be had.
Definitely.
Like Providence and Butler are 2 teams that I look at right now and say, all right, what can you do over the next month to build a case? Obviously, Providence does not have very many big games. Colorado is not good. They just lost.
Shaky.
They almost lost to Eastern Washington and Montana State. Penn State also not good. So Providence kind of needed this game against Virginia Tech.
Yeah, this would have been.
They kind of have to beat Wisconsin now.
That's no easy task.
That's the Rady Children's Invitational. Or okay, they got to at least.
So it'll be 2 games then.
Yeah, I think they got to win at least one. Probably both, though.
Probably not. This Baylor-Washington game is elite if you're watching.
I have it on. It's like Baylor's winning by 7.
Baylor's got some shot makers.
Oh, yeah. Baylor's real good.
So, where do you have anything more on the Greek Freak?
I mean, I
mean, you just like don't want to keep talking about him. Like, can't blame you. He's awesome.
Virginia Tech hosts St. Joe's this week, so it's the Greek Freak against the Hawk.
I would have been so much more interested in that game if Billy Lang was still coaching.
Yeah. That was, again, a huge win for Virginia Tech because they do not have a ton of like big games on their non-conference schedule. I know they go to Atlantis, but again, Atlantis is watered down this year because of Players Era. Mm-hmm. So their only top 100 game outside of Atlantis was South Carolina, who's 101 right now after they barely escaped Southern Miss in overtime. Jonathan, take note. And George Mason.
I was trying not to bring it up.
And George Mason. So again, like this is the part of the season where we kind of have to start looking at this stuff. And I think this is by this part of the season. I mean, at every part of the season, because at the end of the day, the goal is to make the NCAA tournament for these teams, for these types of teams, for the Virginia Techs or the Providences. You have to look at their schedules and say, all right, where are there opportunities to win up games? Where are there opportunities to have a game that we can look back on in March and say, hey, they won this game. That matters. Now, I don't know who the mid-major teams are going to be that are going to be like climbing into the top 100. We'll figure that out eventually. Maybe, nobody on.
I think it's somebody that you're probably going to talk about a little bit later.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, they are already pretty high. But yeah, we'll have to
throw it into him.
Let's move on. And I see what you're saying. This is a pretty good matchup.
Yeah, no, dude, these teams are good. If anything else, this is an entertaining watch.
This is on Baylor.
And honestly, like from I've obviously been back and forth, like looking at stuff for the pod and watching this game, but like Diallo looks really good for Washington.
Yeah. All right, we got to move on.
Yeah.
Jonathan, did you catch any of South Florida, George Washington?
I was box score watching at work the entire time.
Do you have any thoughts?
I did have a losing bet on this game, unfortunately.
Do you have any thoughts?
Well, not about Syracuse, I'll tell you that.
I do actually later.
Yeah, we'll get to that. I think that, I was obviously too low on GW, and like I knew that before the season even started. And you were very nice to point that out. The kid for South Florida that
Robert Morris transfer, Omajafo?
Yeah. Scored 33.
Yeah.
I didn't think that this kid was like a serious impact player for them.
Really?
Yeah. No, I was looking Ennis, Collins, Nelson.
I mean, yeah, I thought those guys would be good, but like Omajafo was a starter on an NCAA tournament team last year.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it just slipped my mind. No, he had a great night. These are, two really good mid majors.
This was the game that kind of made me. I texted Will Warren and I said, I've had enough of these 180 total games. This was the game that made me say that because oh my god, it's so many free throws. This game took forever. For a 99-95 game, this was not a good game.
Tell me, how did because Castro fouled out in 22 minutes.
Yeah.
And like 14 and 6, 2 blocks, great for.
I mean, yeah, but minutes. South Florida
is just a physical team inside.
South Florida stayed in this game by getting Castro out of the game and getting to the paint, getting to the line. They took 37 free throws and they were 64% inside the arc. And man, South Florida, like I thought they would have been better protecting the rim with Isaiah Nelson, with Damian Collins, but George Washington got whatever they wanted inside. They were 67%, and they got 41 free throws. I think some of that is you look at a guy like Boo Benjamin or Trey Autry. These guys are good at getting into the lane. They also, again, Tyrone Marshall took 9 free throws and 3 field goal attempts. George Washington and South Florida are both going to give themselves a chance, hopefully, to be in the conversation. South Florida's schedule is good. They have Oklahoma State, VCU, which is in, I believe, Atlantis. So yeah, they're in Atlantis. They've got Utah State, they've got Alabama, UAB. That's in conference, and good weekend as a whole for that conference with North Texas taking down Loyola Chicago, Memphis taking down San Francisco, but obviously difficult loss for South Florida in that sense, though, I will say. And obviously UAB getting blasted by NC State, but you kind of saw that coming.
Yeah, we can talk about the free throws. I think maybe the bottom line is that South Florida's not going to win many games when Joe Pinion goes 1 of 13 from 3.
I was talking.
That's just not going to happen very often.
I was talking about that.
And the fact that they scored like they did with
it was not
like that.
Ennis had a bad game.
Yeah, Ennis was Ennis was bad. Pinion was bad. Those two guys not being good and you still playing the way you did offensively is you're not leaving there with nothing.
Yeah, they found a way to squeeze into this game late. They were down big in this game.
Yeah.
All right. Gonzaga, Oklahoma.
So this
game was so over that I went to bed before this game was over.
This felt very similar to the first big win of Gonzaga's season from last year against
Baylor.
But this time we know Gonzaga has more depth. Hopefully, right?
Oh, definitely.
But on the flip side of that, this was a total mismatch on paper for Gonzaga. Those front court players against Oklahoma's front court defensively, Oklahoma was fighting an uphill battle from the get-go. And I'm not saying I wasn't impressed with Gonzaga because I, very obviously was. They played fantastic. But I think Oklahoma will probably have better matchups. And, I don't know if Oklahoma's that good to begin with.
Yeah. I was low on Oklahoma. So I don't know what convinced me to kind of move them a little bit up. I think it was just the talent in the backcourt. But man, they are.
Those backcourt players didn't play well, though.
Nah, they were
okay.
The problem for me in this game was 29 field goal attempts from Xavier Brown and Nigel Pack. 2 assists.
Yeah.
Combined. Now, if your question is, who the hell are they passing to? Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That's the point.
Is that problem being fixed? Probably not.
Tay Davis and Darion Reed are fine. They're fine players.
People were expecting a big year from Reed. I didn't really see it that way, but they're going to need him to be better.
Absolutely.
And
great to see Steel Venters, by the way.
I think the crazy thing about it is Xavier Brown was a really good playmaker at St. Joe's.
They had guys for him to pass to.
You're not entirely wrong.
There was an NBA player in his front court.
And I think you can push back on this if you want, Sam. But I think that one of the problems, and I know he played at a Final Four, but one of the problems I think that with Nigel Pack is, he's a 5'10" guard that really plays off the ball.
Yeah, I mean, that. You look at that Miami team.
It's hard to build a roster with a guy like that.
It was awesome for that Miami team. He's an awesome player, but like it's hard to build a team around him. It was hard to build a team. It's hard to build a team around any of those guys because they built such a weird team together that it was so weird that it worked.
Yeah, no, they just were a matchup problem because like they played.
They were a 5 seed and an 8 seed. A 5 seed and a 10 seed or something like that. Those 2 years, right? Like they were a good regular season team.
Yeah, they were a 5 seed. They were a 10 seed the first year and a 5 seed the second.
They were a good regular season team. They had a good record, but like they didn't play like super difficult schedules in those ACCs, and like they were just a tough matchup by the time they got to the tournament.
Oh shoot! I think Bryson Tucker's hurt.
Oh, that's bad.
Washington's already pretty banged up right now.
I thought Mario Saint-Supéry was really good in this game.
Is that how we're pronouncing it?
Wait, he's not French. He's Spanish.
I know he's from Spain.
Mario Saint-Supéry. I thought he was French. Never mind. He's Spanish. Mario, MSS.
I think one bold take that I'll have from this game is Gonzaga has a chance to finish number 1 in KenPom this year.
I agree.
Anything else?
You want to talk Memphis, San Francisco? I know you watched this one.
Yeah, I watched the second half of this. Was busy during the first half, but looks like the second half was the half to watch if you were going to choose, right?
Yeah.
This was setting up to be an epic Memphis collapse. They were up big in this game. They were up, I think it was like 14 at the break. It was 36 to 22. And all of a sudden, like, here comes Mookie Cook. Here comes Tyrone Riley. Like the guys, the talented guys for San Fran started playing well. And a couple timely shots from Quante Berry really got Memphis out of the water here. But they were trying their hardest. They were trying their hardest to blow this game. Regardless, like good win for Memphis. Like getting the end result that they did was obviously a huge positive for a team that it was apparently installing their offense just days ago.
Just watched a little bit of the Field of 68 games. They were not competitive, and none of them were. Unlike last year, but yeah. I came away like, man, this Liberty team, they got it. Caden Matheny is unreal. Zach Cleveland had such a good game today against FAU. I don't know what the numbers were. Was it a triple-double? Oh, my God. He just 1 point shy of a triple-double.
December 10th, Liberty goes to NC State. That's a game we'll be watching.
December 10th. Where am I on December 10th? I am at FDU Fordham.
They also play at Dayton 10 days after that. So yeah. 2 big non-con opportunities.
Yeah, I think Liberty might be able to probably won't run the table, but
they could get a split in those 2 games.
They could run the table in the CUSA. They won't, but they could.
Where do they play their because they're in an MTE, aren't they?
They are in ESPN events.
That's a 4-teamer now, right?
Yes.
So who's the other? They played Vermont, I see. Who's the other one?
And that's not looking like a great game, by the way. Vermont.
No, it is not.
I know they won today. Oh no, never mind. It's an 8-team bracket.
Oh, okay.
It's there is a 4-team bracket. There's an 8-team bracket, and then there's and then there's another 4-team bracket. Their bracket is Bradley, Liberty, Princeton, Rhode Island, Temple, Towson, UC San Diego, Vermont. So Liberty, Bradley, Towson, the 3 best teams there?
Yeah, I would say so.
And probably
Liberty's probably the best team there.
Yeah, Liberty's definitely the best team. But Bradley, Towson would be next, and probably UC San Diego or Temple.
Dude, I don't think that I know
Princeton
Charleston
and Vermont are probably the 2 worst teams in that bracket.
I know Charleston is hurt right now, and Hickman's not eligible and whatnot. But FAU to start the season beat Boston College, which I know we said that FAU has better athletes than Boston College was. It's still like for FAU, for an American team, picking off a high major team is nothing we should sleep about. Liberty rolling FAU today caught my attention.
Oh, absolutely.
Because FAU was playing good basketball.
Yeah, we don't see much. Like, Liberty's does not play very many games until MTE. They don't have one. They don't have another one, and they don't have another Division I game until the MTE. And they play 2 non-D1s. Like, come on, man. Like, I know that it's really difficult when you're Liberty to find teams that are willing to schedule you.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like, I'm surprised they can't find another high-level mid-major to schedule. Maybe it's institutional disagreement. Maybe schools just don't want to play against Liberty because it's Liberty. Like, I know that I think UMass canceled a football series with them a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
But man, I would love to see
no, this team.
I would love to see them play St. Louis or some team or VCU. VCU's in the same state. I would love to see them play, say, High Point.
Yeah, them getting opportunities against high mid majors and
they're not going to get
and low high majors is intriguing to me.
Yeah, but the schedule, they do not play. They have 3 non-D1s on the schedule. This is not a schedule that I like. But I get it. I get it. If you're Richie McKay, I wish that they could find a way to play the team St. Mary's plays against.
Yeah, I think you're hitting at a bigger issue here. People have no problem scheduling St. Mary's because they know that St. Mary's is going to be good. They know that a loss to St. Mary's isn't coming back to hurt you.
No, I'm not even saying high majors. St. Mary's always plays good mid majors.
Right. No, you're not.
They always, they're playing Ohio, Arkansas State, Wichita, teams like that.
Yeah.
All right. Helmet sticker time. You want to explain what we do here?
Yeah. So every pod now, we're going to give out some helmet stickers. Those of you that are not familiar with the concept of helmet stickers, they're basically the awards we give out. Good job. We were impressed by you. You had a really good game or whatever weekend, whatever time period it is. The concept is, football player has a really good practice. Oh, you get the helmet sticker today.
Yeah. And this is kind of just going to be the opportunity to, hey, maybe I didn't watch this game. Maybe I don't have a ton to say about this.
Yeah.
But I noticed it, and I think it's important to bring up. And I'm going to start by giving my helmet sticker to John Gross and the Akron Zips. Jonathan, this season started. You texted me this. You said, I knew Akron was good, but I didn't realize they were 15 points better than JMU and 40 points better than Princeton good.
Yeah.
There is an underlying Princeton bad, I think, with this. They're down to 249 in KenPom after this.
You've used that line a couple times in the first week, and I like it.
What?
There's an underlying, whatever.
There is an underlying Princeton bad storyline.
I think you said that about somebody on opening night, and it just one of those lines where it's something happens in your brain when you hear it.
Did I say it on the pod or?
It was a similar feeling to when I saw Kyle Tucker tweet the if everyone looks like the Globetrotters, you might just be the Generals.
just a good bit. Yeah, but Akron comes into the season, they're playing the same type of ball. Davari Johnson's awesome. He's been awesome. And we haven't even seen much of Anjan Stankovic, who I think is kind of going to be the difference maker when it gets to conference play. But man, the Zips are good. Shama Scott, Evan Mahaffey, Amani Lyles. Eric Mahaffey was really impressive against Princeton, the freshman, Evan's brother. So got to shout out the Zips, up to 73 in KenPom, Jonathan. Already up 21 spots. Remember, they were 100th last year. They were a 13 seed. They made the NCAA tournament 2 years in a row. They were 17-1 in the Mid-America Conference last year, and I think this team might end up being better.
Yeah, because of their size, I don't know how they'll scale up, but this is a really good mid-major team. December 13th, they play Murray State. Like,
hey, they play in the Paradise Jam. Their first game there is Iona, who, oh boy, they look good against Hofstra on Friday night.
Hey, who picked Iona to win that game?
Yeah, December 13th, Murray State, Akron, as you mentioned.
You want to go continue?
No, you're up.
Oh, you want to alternate? Okay. So I only have 3. One of them is like a combo, and I'll start with that because one of these guys I saw play today. 2 Missouri Valley guards, Tyree Coleman, Jaquan Johnson. Jaquan Saturday against Central Michigan, 33 points. Just absurd. Like, has clearly taken the leap. Is stronger, a better shooter. Gets by guys at will. Gets the basket. Like, he's going to have such a big year, man. And then Tyree Coleman. I went down to Normal today, checked out Illinois State Cornell, and it wasn't Kinziger. Chase Walker had a good game. The first half, their run was ignited by a freshman out of Aurora who was played at Waubonsie Valley last year, who we have talked about on the show before. Tyree Coleman, bulldog guard, about 6'2", gets to the rim, is super quick. He had a couple times today where they threw him an outlet pass off a rebound, and he just took it and went, man, and got right to the rim and scored. He got fouled a bunch today, got to the line a ton. He really looks like he can be a true difference maker for Illinois State. And a lot of the questions that I think we had about Illinois State can be solved by playing him at the 1 and moving Kinziger off the ball.
Okay. So you give helmet stickers to Tyreek Coleman and Jaquan Johnson.
Yep.
I'm going to give a helmet sticker to TJ Long of Vermont. I watched this game, the end. Vermont beat Brown in double overtime. TJ Long, former Fairfield Stag, he's now in, I believe it's year 3 at Vermont. Year 3 at Vermont. Was hurt last year. Comes back, first game against the D1 team this year for Vermont, and he drops 40 and 13 rebounds in double overtime. He played 45 of the 50 minutes. He hit so many shots. Vermont was dead in the first half of this game. He helped bring them back. They took a 12-point lead. Brown fought all the way back to tie and send to overtime. Vermont had a chance to win in regulation. They couldn't. Vermont tied it at the very end of overtime. They used TJ Long as a decoy running around the top. Lucas Marie found TJ Hurley for a layup. Hurley had 18 and 4. He was their best player last year. TJ Long, though, oh my, having him back is huge. Vermont needed every little bit they could have in this game to win. And also they needed help from Famara Dabo going 2 for 9 from the line. That definitely helped them out. But helmet sticker to TJ Long was really, really good in this game. Jonathan?
Mm-hmm. Vandy.
My doors. My doors.
Don't think that, UCF is a tremendous team, but they blasted them. Game was never close. That offense is elite. Vandy's a very good team, already up to 15th in Ken Palm. Top 5 offense according to Ken Palm. I mean, that is a fun watch. That is a well-coached basketball team. That is a team that is playing above and well above its talent level.
I'm going to give my next helmet sticker to Kyan Anthony. And this is kind of going to talk about Syracuse in general here. If you remember the beginning of the season last year, Syracuse's first game, they beat Lemoyne by 4. Second game, they beat Colgate by 2. Third game, they beat Youngstown State in double overtime. They're not screwing around this year. 38-point win over Binghamton was the largest win of the Adrian Autry era against a Division I team. 40-point win against Delaware State eclipsed that just a couple days later. Kyan Anthony had to slide in and start because J.J. Starling got hurt in the first couple of minutes of the Binghamton game. Kyan scored 15 on 10 shots against Binghamton. He scored 19 on 11 shots against Delaware State. He hasn't turned it over. He has 7 assists in those 2 games. The free throw shooting has been a problem, but he's super smooth. He gets to his spots, doesn't need a ton of separation, but he can create separation quickly. He's got a nice step back. He's got a nice drive. He's a good player. Really good scorer. Defense, he's definitely been fighting on defense. So better than I expected from him defensively overall. Not sure what it's going to look like against better athletes because he's not the most athletic. He's not the quickest. But man, he's skilled, can really score, has a ton of counters. And just kind of talking about Syracuse in general, though, up to 57th in KenPom. I believe that would be the highest of any point in the Adrian Autry era. It's the highest at any point since the beginning of Jim Boeheim's last season. They play Drexel in Philly next week, then Monmouth, and then they go to Players Era. Would also like to mention Syracuse right now in raw defensive rating, Jonathan. Number 1 in the country in raw defensive rating, 64.1. Yes, they played Binghamton. Yes, they played Delaware State. I think that's worth mentioning.
Yeah, no, they certainly look improved, if nothing else.
They're playing with energy, man. Like Red Autry. I had a lot of criticism for him, but I do get I'm starting to see okay, if this can hold, if they're doing this, he's got an idea. We've seen it now against these mid-major teams. We've seen he's committed to the metrics. He's pressing the walk-ons with his starters with a minute left to get the score up or whatever it is. He wants this. He knows. I'm not yet convinced that he's the guy because, again, as I haven't been convinced in the last 2 years by anything. But the first 2 games of year 3 are the best Syracuse has looked in the Red Autry era. And I think that's a good sign.
Yeah, definitely. You needed to see something this year.
You could not start the season the way they started it last year.
You said it in the preseason. You were tired tiptoeing around this. It was put up or shut up time. And so far they have put up.
Absolutely.
Last one for me. Oklahoma State. Won me a bet today, so thank you for doing that. But also, they came out and just throttled Texas A&M today. This team has some talent. Victorious Miller was a high recruit. We know that, Isaiah Coleman has talent. They didn't even have Anthony Roy today, which you could say what you want, whether that helps them or doesn't. But they have five guys in double figures. They go deep into their bench, and they just they blast an A&M team that they can't have had much experience or much simulation or much of a scout against the system.
That what you got?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a singular Christian Coleman played really good today, but I don't think there's a singular player on this team that I would give an individual helmet sticker to. They played really well as a team. The offense was great, and the defense was great too.
I watched Utah Weber State yesterday in the second half because it was close. And I'm going to give my helmet sticker to Terrence Brown, FDU transfer in this game. 36 points, 3 assists, 4 rebounds. Was the best player on the floor. They needed him to be. They needed everything they got. This was a close game. It was a lot closer than it should have been. I don't know how much Utah has aside from Don McHenry and Terrence Brown in terms of scoring. Dawes gave them a little bit. They need Elijah Moore back. But man, Terrence Brown, that guy can play. I'm not sure how he's going to be in the Big 12, but he definitely looks a little stronger. Still thin, but stronger for sure. So that was huge. And my last helmet sticker, because I know you don't have any more,
Yeah.
How about Ryan Ritter and Mercer? First game of the season on Monday, they gave Tennessee a little bit of a fight. They only lost by 15. I know the game was not close for most of the way, but they get totally embarrassed out there. You usually see Tennessee do that to these teams. They forced 19 turnovers, which is big against Tennessee, and then they come out on Sunday and they demolished Lipscomb at home. They won by 15. And they went on a 10-0 run to start the second half that really helped them out. And I love this backcourt, Jonathan. They've got Zaire Williams, a transfer from Wagner, who hit 5 threes today. He scored 10 points in all 3 games. Baraka Okogie, who did not do well at Memphis last year, but was a good freshman at George Mason. I think he's just too good for this league, and he's averaging 15 a game. And they've also got Quentin Perkins, who has scored 16 and 17 in the last 2 games. He is a sophomore from Dallas, Texas, that transferred in from Indian Hills. He was a stud at Indian Hills. So that's big. Just getting him in there as well. So this is a team that has a guy who was playing high major rotation minutes and Kyle Cuff coming off the bench, and they're in the SoCon. And Armani Mighty, we know that he can play at this level for sure. Another guy who was playing at a high major last year. Just a player that's going to be too good physically in the Big South, in the SoCon. So shout out to Ryan Ritter for really doing a good job evaluating talent in the portal. And I know how much people like Ryan Ritter as a coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Never heard anyone say a bad word about him.
And big couple weeks coming up for them. Next Saturday at Winthrop, Saturday after that at Eastern Kentucky, and then home for App State. So 3 games that, hey, win 2 of those, and we'll be talking about you on the pod again.
How about that?
All right.
We have some injury news to discuss here.
Jonathan?
Seth Trimble reportedly has a broken bone in his arm, and we don't know the timetable of the return, but from my experience, Sam, you don't heal a broken arm in a week.
No.
So it sounds like UNC is going to be without Seth Trimble for a notable amount of time. And, Sam, you have written here on the rundown, does it change the way we feel about UNC? Yeah, it absolutely does. He is the best defender of perimeter players that they have on the roster. And I don't want to call him, the only good point of attack defender on the roster, because that's not true. I don't want to call him the best defender on the roster, because it might be true, it might not be true. But yeah, this kid is an elite player, and he showed it on Friday night against Kansas. He's a leader for your team. He can play multiple positions. He can guard multiple positions. No doubt that UNC is a different team without him. Not saying they can't be good or anything of that note, but they're certainly a different team without him.
Yeah, if you asked me this a week ago, if they're playing without Seth Trimble, I would feel a lot worse than I do now, because I know that Caleb Wilson can kind of shoulder a little bit of a load offensively. Backcourt defense is going to be a little concerning. They might have to go to Bogovac. He's not sure how good he is defensively. Evans is a much better offensive player than he is a defensive player. So Trimble was kind of their key cog in the backcourt defensively, and losing him's tough. I think the offensive ceiling is probably higher when he's not on the floor, but the defense is going to be tough. And he was a big floor raiser for them offensively too.
Yeah, no, I like great two-way player. I don't, want to go into how we think UNC is going to operate without him, but no doubt that Seth Trimble is important to what they're doing in Chapel Hill.
All right, Jonathan. Again, I look at we get to the end of the pod and it's time to preview these games, and I'm thinking what am I going to say?
I'm so excited for Kentucky Louisville, man.
Me too.
Have you been seeing the stuff on Twitter?
No.
Dude, I mean, those fan bases like act like the other one is a terrorist group.
Well, I'm not gonna say which one.
No, but can't wait for that. Like, it's gonna be really fun.
That's gonna be sexy basketball.
Mississippi State, intriguing point guard matchup tomorrow night with them and Iowa State. Hubbard versus Lipsey, two veteran guys.
Well, let's make some picks for these games because I mean,
okay,
that'll kind of make us think about it. Jonathan, you want to pick the first one?
Yeah, I watched Mississippi State last week.
KenPom spread, by the way, if you want to do KenPom spread.
Do you want to?
Iowa State's -4.
I'll take Iowa State.
Why?
I expect Iowa State to be the more polished team early in the season. Otts always has his guys ready to go early in the year, and then sometimes they'll fade down the stretch, sometimes they'll finish strong, depending on injuries and other things. But I feel like Iowa State, since Otts has gotten the job, has always been very prepared for whatever comes their way in the preseason. Or early in the season, I should say.
Yeah, I think I would agree. I'd go Iowa State -4. I just don't know how much anyone besides Hubbard is going to be able to score against this Iowa State defense, and we know how tough they play. I like how much I like Buchanan and Jefferson. Mm-hmm. Do love Sean Jones though.
Yeah, he's essential to the operation.
Yeah. So I'm going to go Iowa State.
Iowa State -4.
Yeah, I think Iowa State can kind of turn them over. I know that's not. I know that's something Mississippi State did well last year, but I think Iowa State kind of has the physicality to match Mississippi State. Mississippi State's a physical team. I think Iowa State has the physicality to match, and I think they have the better just on-ball guys and off-ball guys that they can force turnovers and get out and run. And Momcilovic will hit his shots. Jefferson will make plays. Lipsey. So give me Iowa State.
Kentucky Louisville.
Louisville's -1. This game's at the KFC Yum Center.
Give me the Cats. They were my preseason number 3 team, I think. I think matchup-wise, Kentucky's got some guys with length on the perimeter that can make it tough on Louisville, who wants to shoot a ton of threes. If Louisville is going to come out here and hit a bunch of contested threes, in tough shots, I'll tip my cap. But I think Kentucky's the better team. Currently number 1 at KenPom right now. Sam?
I want to pick Louisville. I want this to be the Louisville kind of comes out, hits a bunch of threes, crowd's going nuts, programs back. Because I think college basketball, Kentucky's been like this. Kentucky's Kentucky. And I think
Kentucky has been good, despite popular beliefs.
Yeah. I think college basketball is better when programs with historic fan bases are really into it. And I think it would be awesome for the sport if Louisville had that type of energy.
Agreed.
And that's nothing against Kentucky. I mean, something against
both.
I hold things against both of these fan bases.
It is exciting when good teams in good rivalries are both good at the same time. Simply put.
But yeah, I'm gonna have to lean Kentucky here. I think that Pope will have them ready to go. I think the matchup kind of favors them, as you mentioned, in terms of being able to deny on the perimeter. This is going to be a team that's much better defensively than last year. I think Diabate is going to be key in terms of an inside-out defender. He can guard multiple positions. Owe, I don't know if Louisville's backcourt has we might have to see more Javon Hadley than you would want to see, considering how much you want to see their 3-guard lineups that shoot. Not that Hadley can't shoot, but you want to see the 3-guard offensive lineups. Hadley's going to have to play a lot. And I think that games that Javon Hadley plays a lot, Louisville's offense will be worse because like they don't have the 3 shooters out there. And I still like Mikal Brown, and Mikal Brown has turned it over a lot so far. He's got 9 turnovers so far in his first 2 games against Jackson State and South Carolina State. Louisville might be playing a little too fast for him right now. I know that's kind of what he wants to do. I know he is that type of guy that plays fast. But I think Louisville's playing a little bit fast early in the season for him, and I think Kentucky can take advantage of that. I know they're not a big turnover forcing team. I know their guards aren't like especially great defenders, even though they're bigger. I think Kentucky's going to take this one.
Illinois, Texas Tech. Ken Pom has it. Illinois -6.
Texas Tech.
Fast answer from you.
I'm riding with my Red Raiders. Like, I had them 4th in my preseason rankings, and Illinois in the 20s. Like, I would be an idiot if I would be an idiot to not trust myself at least a little here, especially with the way Texas Tech has looked so far on offense. In game 1 without JT Toppin and Lawan Watts and company, and then in game 2 with JT Toppin and Lawan Watts. I mean, Texas Tech, Donovan Atwell, Christian Anderson, this team can shoot the crap out of it. Tyree Bryant and then top. This is going to be kind of a welcome to college basketball moment for all of Illinois' international guys. And Petrovic, we still don't know like if he's ready. So straight up, I don't believe Illinois. I guess that means it's only a welcome to college basketball moment for Mirkovic and Wagler, I guess.
Straight up,
Wagner's been good.
Yeah, straight up on Illinois' floor, I don't think that Illinois is 6 points better than Texas Tech. But Texas Tech is banged up. Have guys coming back. Not sure who's going to be available for them, who's not going to be. I think the story, while I am more excited for Kentucky Louisville, I think the story coming out of Tuesday night in college basketball is Brad Underwood has a dominant team full of European players. And Keaton Wagler. By the way, have you checked out the offensive ratings for Illinois players? At all? They are outlandishly.
I mean, they've scored 113 points.
Yeah. This, like I said on Friday, I'm not ready to, crown Illinois yet, but I think that it is possible. It is possible that this is Underwood's best team.
What do we know about Ivisic, Tomislav?
Oh, and his injury?
Yeah.
That's a great question. I can't tell you a definitive answer, but I'm still going to go Illinois -6.
Underwood said I would expect him to miss a little bit of time.
Okay. I think Toppin's going to get his regardless. So.
Yeah, I'm just saying I think Tomislav is huge offensively.
Not wrong. Memphis versus Mississippi. This one is at.
God, do I have to pick one?
This one's in Oxford. Yeah, it's at the Pavilion.
I don't.
Ken Pom has it. Ole Miss -8. I'll take Memphis.
That's a big number.
I'll take Memphis.
Number.
Ole Miss wins the game. Memphis covers.
Give me Memphis. Yeah, Mississippi wins. Memphis covers. We agree too much.
Memphis plays up well. That's what
they do. But I know. I just said 8's a big number. I'm about to take 10 for Gonzaga.
Is that what it is? Because I'll take Gonzaga too.
Yeah, I'm taking Gonzaga at -10. I just Creighton. I don't know if they're going to be able to guard anything at all.
Gonzaga is going to score 110 points.
I think Gonzaga definitely breaks 90 in this game.
Gonzaga will score more points in this game than they do against Arizona State later in the week. Book it.
I mean, yeah, that's an away game.
All right, mid-major games to watch, Sam. You have down here UNC
Washington.
Wellington.
I don't really have picks for these games, but it's just games to note. UNC Wilmington against Kent State.
Mr. Pomeroy has it Kent State -1 for what it's worth.
Okay. Yeah, just two well-coached programs. And then Yale Quinnipiac. Two teams that are expected to be very competitive in their leagues.
Ken Palm has this one. Yale -8 on the road.
Yeah. All right, Jonathan.
Anything else?
There's one other thing that happened this weekend that I think we should talk about at least for a second.
Okay.
Penn State played at New Haven.
They did do that.
Won
third Division I game.
They won 87-43. Do you have any thoughts on this game? Did you see any of the clips?
No. I do know that On College Basketball talked about this on Friday, and New Haven has a 1,000-seat arena.
Yeah, not very many. And Matt Norlander was at this game.
Yes, he was. And so New Haven has a 1,000-seat arena. Penn State decided to go there in New Haven's third ever Division I game. And Penn State blasted them.
And New Haven is going to go there to Penn State for the next 3 years for no money. So Penn State is saving basically $300,000.
Penn State beat New Haven by 18 more points than UConn did. Is Penn State 18 points better than UConn, Sam? I think we need to have that conversation.
All right, Jonathan, you want to take us home?
Let's do it. If you came to hear about Tyler Self and where he's working, you came to the right place. If you came to hear about picking games between Memphis and Ole Miss and Sam doesn't want to give a pick, you came to the right place. And if you came to hear about the latest happenings with Caleb Grill, you came to the right place. This has been Season 6, episode. Hold on, let me go full screen here. 50. What is it, 50?
Yes.
Holy cow, we're at 50 already. Episode 50 of Brackets, Bubbles, and Bid Stealers. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.